I've built a TARDIS model and I've broken down the process into several different videos. This is the 6th video in the series, so if you want to start from the beginning, then check out my playlist with the full series. If you've been following along, then let's move on to the windows. For each of the sides, I need to cut out the top 2 sections for the windows. There are many ways I could have done this, but I started by drilling 1/16" holes in each of the 4 corners of the sections that I wanted to cut out. I did not drill them right up to the edges. I wanted to leave a little bit of room to work with. From the back of the panel, I cut between the holes. No straight edges needed here. I will be cleaning up these edges once the holes are cut out. Cleaning up these edges can be easily done with a file or a utility knife, or a combination of both. With the windows cut out and cleaned up, from the front, I measure and mark where I need to make the window framings. I put one mark on the sides, halfway between the top and the bottom of the window. Then 2 marks equally between the left and right sides of the window. Next, I extend those marks along the insides of the window, then onto the back of the panel. For the window frames, I'm using regular sized matches. For the horizontal piece, I use a single match with the top cut off. To cut these matches, I use a razor blade. I roll the match while applying pressure with the blade. This works pretty well for making a straight cut. I align the match with the marks that I made, extending the marks as needed so that I can still see them as I hold the match in place. I don't want the window frames to be sticking out inside the TARDIS. I want the frame to be flush with the panels. While holding the match where I want it, I use my utility knife to notch where I need to cut away to place the match. After cutting out the notches, I test fit the match, making sure I made the notches deep enough. I check the alignment from the front. If it's not aligned, I adjust the notches. Once it is aligned, I glue the matches into place. For the vertical notches, I cut the top of the match off, then cut it in half. I hold one piece up against the edge of the first match, then mark where I need to make the notch. I put some glue in the notch and a bit of glue on the end of the match that will be up against the first match. I press the match into place, then check the alignment from the front. A trick that I figured out to help with the alignment is using the grid of my work mat for reference. Each window frame has 1 horizontal piece and 4 vertical pieces, using 3 matches. For the glass in the windows, I used a thin piece of anti-glare plastic. I measure how big I want each piece to be, then cut the plastic to that size. I hold the plastic in place and mark 3 spots that I will use to mount it to the panel. I'm using thumbtacks because I want to be able to remove the plastic, and I need to make sure the thumbtacks will go where there is extra support on the other side of the panel. Otherwise, they would poke out the front. I pre-drill a 1/16" hole in the plastic for each thumbtack. For one of the sides, I cut a smaller piece of plastic. This time I'm only using 2 thumbtacks to hold it in place. This is just a bit of experimenting to see different things that work. For the doors, the windows are a bit different. Because the doors need to open, each door needs its own piece of plastic. If that piece overlaps a hinge, it shouldn't hurt it. I did eventually end up trimming that small part away, just so that the plastic can sit flat with the door panel. One thing that I forgot to mention earlier is that the anti-glare plastic that I'm using has a shiny finish on one side and a matte finish on the other side. I like the way it looks better when the matte finish is facing the outside. Now the windows are done and I have reassembled all of the parts. In the next video, I will be finishing up the final touches of the model.